there's this mystery still surrounding the whole story about Plymouth in Massachusetts. What can you tell us?
Wait for my book.
Can we have a sneak preview?
Wait for my book. I tell you, I was not held in the United States for any crime. Extradition, the only thing that has to be determined in the case of extradition are two questions. One, is there a treaty? If yes. Two, if that person is returned to his country, would his rights be observed? Those are the only two questions. I do not think the United States was comfortable with me returning to Liberia. And I was held in a maximum security setup. And I was not a soldier. I've never been a soldier in my life. And a lot of people helped me to get out. But the full story will come out in my book.
Mr. President, would you like to visit the U.S. again?
I would like to. I think for a Liberian, unless you have it rightly made with the United States, unless they understand you and you understand them, I think there will always be problems and Liberia would not develop. So as a former president and one who in the future will have a role in Liberia, it is important for me to go. I respect the United States. It's the world's only superpower. So I think being quote unquote in good books with them, I think is good for not just for me, but for Liberia.
Do you think that the international media has misunderstood you?
And that's one thing about the foreign media, which they do a whole lot. The foreign media have this concept. They will support their host government during crisis. Most maybe other little countries, they say, oh, you must be new. There's no neutrality in journalism in these big countries. When it comes to their national security, forget about neutrality.
Patriotism.
So it's all about patriotism. So for me, I understand it. They are controlled by interests. I hope and pray that sometimes you are lucky you find one journalist that says, okay, great. I don't like Mr. Taylor, but wait a minute. There are some questions that must be answered. Okay, you said Mr. Taylor is guilty of this. Well, bring some evidence to us. This, I think you are lucky sometimes, but I'm not surprised and I don't feel bad because I think they work on interests.
Do you miss home?
Yes, I do.
How much do you miss home?
Well, I had developed a very big farm because one of the things that I praise God for is that I had decided that I would make no money during the presidency of Liberia, but after the presidency, I will move on my farm. And this was a smart thing that I did. This is why I've never opened any bank account anywhere. And when you hear me boasting, I am damn certain I have no bank accounts anywhere. I wanted to leave office with a record of having served my people. Yes, I'm guilty of patronage. I helped our people. It is an African tradition. I helped a lot of people, but I did not squander the wealth of my people for my personal use. It would never be found. And I miss going on my farm. I had developed a 3,500 acre coffee farm that is yielding coffee now. I love going fishing. I had a little boat where I could go on the river and fish. And I wanted to really do what I think former President Jimmy Carter did. I think Carter has accomplished more outside of the presidency than he was president. And so I miss, meeting the boys in the evening. Even as president, I used to go up to my home village and play cards with the boys, the men of the town. I miss that. My children cannot travel to see me, so they have restrictions, which I think is a violation of their rights. Some of them are stuck in places where they cannot move because they need permission, and so it's a lot of problems. But I don't miss it. Yes, because one good thing has happened to me since I have been here in Nigeria and in Calabar in particular. God is so wonderful. President Obasanjo could not have sent me to a better state or a better person. The governor of this state tell you something. There's one thing. A former president comes and he's okay, and you say, Mr. President, thank you, welcome to Calabar, and you're gone. But this is not the case with him. I mean, it's like his God said he has understood the emotions.
It's okay. President Taylor, if you could right any wrong you may have done, what would it be?
Well, I would not know if it's a wrong, but one thing that I was not able to accomplish that I wanted to accomplish was after the war, the Liberian people elected me, in fact, the Liberian people elected me to unite the country. I was not able to get some of the other factional leaders to return to Liberia. I was not able to get one or two of the political leaders to return. And I think they helped to provoke the situation. I was able to do a whole lot. Strangely, the LPC, these were all warring factions, and all of the other warring factions, I was able to bring them into government. In fact, most of the combatants that fought for the government during the war were the combatants of the warring factions that fought against me. So I accomplished bringing them together. I accomplished making sure that the issue of tribalism went away in Liberia. But I mean, to a great extent, I think most Liberians now, if you went to Liberia and took a poll, they would say Mr. Taylor did his best.
Any other regrets?
The second regret is that I was never able to get the United States to understand me. I was never able to get them to work with me, which is so essential for Liberia. No president of Liberia, no president can make it successfully unless he is online with Washington. Now, I'm not the type of guy that you can pick up a telephone and command. I don't take that. I didn't take that from Washington. Then, even if I were elected president, I would not take it. I'm not that kind. I'm not a coward. But I do believe that a good working relationship is essential for any president of Liberia, or that president will fail.
Would you like to run for president again?
No, I tell you, for me now, I'll go back to what I said. I would like to be the Jimmy Carter of Liberia. I would like to set up my foundation in Liberia. There are 3 groups I'm interested in Liberia. The wounded soldiers of the war. I'm very much interested in the wounded soldiers. I think they are going to be a long-term problem for Liberia, the wounded soldiers. The second group that I'm interested in Liberia are the orphans. I was supporting orphanages. One of the greatest expenses of my government was on orphanages around the country. And the third group of people that I'm interested in Liberia are gifted children. There are a lot of gifted children. There are some children graduating from high school in Liberia at the age of 13 with top scores. I want my foundation. No president of Liberia has ever built a library and a foundation. I want to build a library and a foundation and cater to these 3 groups. I think for me, I have excelled to the highest office in my land. What is important to me now is my honor. My honor must be restored, and I've asked all of my colleagues, and I use this time to say, I deserve no defense from anyone for any action that I did against the Liberian people. But my honor is important, and I expect friends of mine to tell the international community, you must present the evidence on Mr. Taylor, on what he did to his people, or leave him alone.
Any gratitudes?
Yes. Oh my God. I tell you, I got a little sentimental, I'm sorry, but President Obasanjo has been, and the people of Nigeria, I tell you, deserve my gratitude. And even coming here to Calabar, like I said, Governor Duke, his personal interest. I mean, when someone calls you to find out how you are doing, and if there's anything, it's just so, he could just say, well, as long as the gentleman is here and no problem, fine. But it goes. I owe also my gratitude to Thabo Mbeki, who is then chairman of the AAU, the chairman of the AAU now, President Shisano, President Kufuor of Ghana, many other African leaders, all of them, that took a decision. Don't forget, I was brought into Nigeria by both the chairman of the AU and the chairman of ECOWAS on one aircraft. I mean, I owe my gratitude to ECOWAS and the African Union. And I say to them, all of them, I must stand accountable for what I did in Liberia. Also, I want to mention France has been very strong, Russia, other members of the council. And I tell you quite frankly, like I say, I really hope that I could use my period while I'm outside to develop a warm relationship with those countries that did not get to know me. But I want to thank President Obasanjo and the government and people of Nigeria for accepting me here. And I want to say to Nigerians today, what Nigeria has done, the president and the government, is right. Nigeria is not just another country in West Africa. Nigeria can make or break black Africa. And I think the role of Nigeria's role extends far beyond just our diplomatic role. And for those Nigerians that have been adverse to my being here, if I had the opportunity, I would explain to them the details. It is not about protecting me from wrong that I have done. It's about looking at the bigger picture. You take a sitting African head of state and you disgrace him and you humiliate him on probable cause. But you exempt your own people. An ordinary private cannot be even questioned about what atrocity he committed. I think for the first time we all must be proud that the AU, ECOWAS have stood up and said, no, there's something wrong here. And I think I owe my gratitude to all of them.
Mr. President, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.